Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a review of Bunny Drop by Yumi Unita, I believe is how you pronounce it. Um, this is a 9 volume series with the 10th volume over there being an extra bonus stories volume put out by Yen Press. These are a little bit thicker than a standard 180 page volume. I believe you get up to 200 pages or so per volume. So it's a little bit more bang for your buck, I guess. And yeah, this is a very slow paced slice of life story. This is a josei title about this man who's all the way on the end two covers there, who is in his 30s, I believe, at the beginning of the story. He has his grandfather passes away, and his grandpa has this very young child, uh, who is not a legitimate child of the family, um, and uh, nobody in his family wants to take the kid in because the kid is an illegitimate child and kind of taboo, because like, why does grandpa have this 4 or 5 year old girl um, daughter? And so basically he kind of naively sees something in her and just can't leave her alone, so he decides to take on being her guardian, even though he has is not in any kind of relationship. He's never had any you know interactions with children, really. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he takes on this little girl who's like 4 or 5, and maybe she's 6, something around that age. Anyway, she's very young, and kind of jumps into guardianship and fatherhood. And so the first 4 volumes, I guess, yeah, because she's older on this one, the first 4 volumes are of that time period where she's a young girl, and it's very sweet, it's really cute. You're seeing him kind of fumble through this new chapter in his life of trying to take care of this child when he's used to working really long overtime hours at work. He doesn't have anyone to come home to, so he never really cared. He just would be at work all the time and come home occasionally and whatever. But now all of a sudden he has this little girl who he has to drop off at preschool and pick her up and make sure that he makes dinner, and all these things. And she's very quiet and kind of reserved, and you can see the very simple kind of artwork there. He Her name's Rin, and his name's Daikichi. Daikichi? Or is it Daichi? Daikichi, yeah, I was right. It's got this simple kind of artwork, and it's really sweet. She makes a friend named Koiki, and he's a boy her age, and his mom is a single mom around Daikichi's age. And so they kind of help each other out, and Rin and Koiki hang out all the time. So as you can probably tell from the volumes, she's older here. So in volume 5, we go to, I believe she is in high school at that point. And it kind of does a lot of flashbacks to her middle school days, but I think at this point we're in the high school timeline. And you kind of learn what's happened ever since these first 4 volumes, when she was a very young child. It kind of goes along the rest of the series, filling in those gaps, but as she is in high school. So it's pretty much just like a family. There's a bit of drama, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a drama. It's more just kind of a family story about this girl who is very independent, who is being raised by this man who's sort of distantly, I guess she is technically his aunt, since she's his grandpa's child. So yeah, it's very simple and just kind of lighthearted. It does get into later on her trying to, like most adopted children in media, you see them go through the phase of wanting to uh, learn more about their birth parents, and obviously her father has passed away, but she wants to know more about who her mother is. Her mother is a mystery to her. She doesn't remember a mother figure. Um, and so she's trying to kind of figure out that piece of her life and go from there. This is a josei title, uh, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there are people who are not happy with how this story ends. It makes them uncomfortable. I personally, I'm not going to go into details. You can probably find on the internet somewhere else what happens in this story. I personally didn't care. I enjoyed the story all the way through. I wasn't bothered by how the story progressed, and I definitely would recommend, with a bit of caution, that you should pick up and read this story. The art is interesting. It's very simple, and it does stay very simple. It doesn't really I didn't personally see much improvement beyond the first couple volumes of obviously her just trying to the author just trying to find a style that fits, but there isn't much progression by way of artwork throughout this series. It just stays pretty simple. Um, I would say, even though technically the story ends in volume 9, I did really enjoy volume 10. It had stories all the way back from, it was short stories back from like the childhood age to through middle school up until it has a bit of extra like beyond where volume 9 ends off. So technically you don't need volume 10 because it's not it's just extra bonus stories, but I did really enjoy them, and I think it does, it completes the series for you. And yeah, there isn't much to talk about. Not much happens in this story. It's really just a slice of life, slow, simple story about this girl and her friend and her adoptive guardian. So, if you've read Bunny Drop and you want to chat about it in the comments, about your thoughts on it, definitely, please, I'd like to hear them. And yeah, if you have any questions about Bunny Drop, let me know as well. Thanks for watching.